Okay.
Andre Drummond is the one who out rebounded everybody and their mom.
Yeah, and you know what? He got the first thing smoking trying to get out of Cleveland when we picked him up for, I think it was Detroit. We got him from a couple years ago.
Chris Rock, Chris Rock, Chris Rock, Chris DJ Chris Styles was saying something, but I can't hear what he's saying right now. I think he said no calf slander. So we're gonna go ahead and take a break right quick. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Celebrating the life of Timothy Lee Trample Jr. through supporting students is our goal. We celebrate him by reaching back to put others into a better position to receive a college degree
JB.
and thereby setting the foundation for a stable financial future, helping students reach their full potential.
It's the coach.
The Timothy Lee Trample Jr.
I'm telling you, it's the coach. It's JB.
Has been helping students at a chance for a full life. You can be
listen.
A single.
As good as Milwaukee is, as great they can be, what did they do? And they were winning. They fired the coach, right? And I'm telling you, this is the NBA. This is JB. JB's only as good if he has mediocre players. He can make a mediocre team win 35 games.
Why don't they just go ahead and let the players just go ahead and let the players coach and play the games?
Not the head coach to take them to the next level. I'm telling you. As long as you need a championship winning coach. You need a championship winning coach. He's not it. This is the NBA. That's why you think coaches get fired. The NBA. You need a coach that's going to hit the right buttons and make the team play. He has the pieces.
You think he has the pieces? You think he really has the pieces? After what we just talked about with Jared Allen.
He had pieces to win the game.
Pieces to win, but the pieces. Like as in 5. I'll even go 8 deep.
It's the whole coaching staff. It's not just, it's him and his whole coaching staff. They got to develop these players. They got to develop a system. I am telling you.
Wow.
I'm telling you. And he got a pretty fly coaching staff too. That's what makes it more crazy.
So who's next up in your mind then?
There is no, it is very hard in NBA to find that coach that's going to take you. It is. That's why coaches get fired all the time. It is hard for that coach. You need to be next level coach. How to coach stars and star-like players. You got 2 players there. Garland. You got Donovan. You got the other big man that's just getting better. Mobley. Like you got potential players.
Sapphire.
Oh,
I don't know what happened.
You got to get the pay link. You got to pay for it. You got to get the one to pay for it. You keep looking like that. I'm just gonna give you my code.
My system shut down behind that.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We just had a spirited conversation with DJ Chris Styles on the break, but I think the audience probably heard as well. Josh Hunt, hey Josh, Monty Williams had everything he needed in Phoenix and couldn't make it happen. That's true, and Kevin Durant's addition to that team has not made it any better either. And, if anything, let's see where they at in the Western Conference standings. Because the Cavs take them on very soon at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse as well. So let's see where Phoenix is. Phoenix, okay. Let's look at Western Conference. So the Suns are in 6th place. So they would make it to the playoffs if the season ended today. But I wouldn't foresee them going far. Right now the Timberwolves is kicking everybody's butt. So is the Thunder. So it's a 3-way tie for first place. So you got the Timberwolves, the Thunder, and the Nuggets at 42 and 19. In 4th place, you have the Clippers at 39 and 21. You have the Pelicans at 36 and 25. The Suns at 35 and 26. the Kings at 34 and 28, and then the Mavericks at 34 and 27. If the playoffs started today, the LA Lakers and the Golden State Warriors would not be playing in those playoffs. And that is just crazy to me, Sapphire. What do you think about that?
I mean, this is not the first time, when we look at seasons, we see that we're like, oh my gosh, this team wouldn't have made it or that. I just, there's still a lot of basketball left to play. So I don't really get hung up in that. And I just think that the more veteran teams understand how to spread themselves across the year. I know Chris Styles doesn't like me to say the words load management, but I mean, I think it's an art form. It's a long season. And, when you're defying gravity and you're, over 25 years of age or older. And I said, yes, 25. I mean, that's a lot of impact on your joints, your bones. So yeah, I don't really get caught up in that too much until maybe like a couple weeks before the end of the season.
I don't feel like, you need load management until you in your 30s. You in your 20s, you are young and spry. And then when you come 30, there is a drop off, except for if you're LeBron James. But I don't believe in load management because, these people come to pay and see you maybe once a year and, you taking off and stuff like that. It's just ridiculous to me. And you too young to be doing that. So I think
That's fascinating. That's fascinating because I mean, to me, just hey, Donovan Mitchell, look at what he's doing right now. It's not just sit out to rehab a bone bruise. I mean, he's going through platelet-rich plasma therapy. I mean, a lot of people look at these athletes as young and invincible, but they work them like horses. The Derby, the Kentucky Derby. I mean, there's a lot of impact. They're defying gravity. So I mean, that's just the way that I feel. You have your peak age, I think, as a human being, whether you be a male or female, and then you're on the back nine. Not regular people, but athletes. And you think about the amount of oxygen they consume and the amount of oxygen they need to fuel their bodies, and again, that constant impact. I just see it. And I probably would not hold on to a head coaching job that long because I do believe in load management. And I think for me, fans, we get that. Where's Chris Styles at right now?
Oh, I would agree. I would disagree with you with load management.
There we go.
You got to go further back. With a lot of these teenagers, a lot of these guys are playing basketball. You got to remember they are playing AAU basketball since they're the age of 8 years old. Yep. So you get a ton of miles on their bodies. So why do you think they're leaving to go to the NBA early, right? That makes sense. You stay 4 years in college. That's more pounding on your body. The more wear and tear. So they leave when they're 19 or 20, right? Yep. So playing AAU basketball, they could play between AAU basketball started right now. High school basketball season is still going right now. So the teams that are eliminated, those players just now started AAU basketball. Tournaments have started, and this is March. They play from March all the way through August. This is AAU, so it's over 150 games for the really good players. The really good ones, probably over 150 games
from the time they ate until.
No, I'm talking about 150 games from March to August.
Oh my God!
Because if you ever been to an AAU tournaments can be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you guarantee 4 games. And the big tournaments could be the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can play up to 6 games. So you can say 6 games in 3 days.
And how long are the games?
The regular is 10 minutes. 10 minutes, of course, sometimes it go halves. It depends. I don't know. Every tournament is different. But you play, and some of these basketball players play for not 1 but 2 teams.
That's right. 2, and some travel.
Yeah, there's travel. They fly across the country.
Yep.
And so you're adding that all in on this, then you're like, okay, you can see why the load management, because at the end of the day, the team has to win in the NBA. So you got to limit the time, on the court.
Josh Hart says, what's crazy if you think about it is that these guys don't start this workload as rookies. They started at 11 and 12 years old. He's talking about AAU.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah. Like, again, it is a crazy thing. So when you talk about mileage on the body, when you talk about the breakdown, you're having more breakdowns of people in their body. They need to figure out what what drugs that LeBron James is taking.
There be no
Nah, here we
LeBron
go.
James slander.
Here we go.
Because
Well, I didn't say
those are just rumors. LeBron James is not on the juice.
I didn't say it was on
Somebody,
juice. I did not-
Kevin Garnett alluded to LeBron being on juice.
Did I say he was on the juice? I said what type of supplements and drugs he's taking. I did not say anything. He is taking some supplements. That is the truth.
What do you think those supplements would be?
I don't know. It could be. It's lots. I take
A lot of
supplements for-
anti-inflammatories.
He came back
tell you that
clean
much.
every time. So
No, I said supplements. There are supplements that people take.
yeah, aren't there steroid supplement people take too?
I ain't talking. You saying steroids? I'm saying it is supplements that people take for their bodies. I take supplements for my body.
Yeah, but are those supplements steroids?
They're over the counter supplements.
Okay.
So whatever he takes, he get the top doctors in the world. So like I said, they need to look at him. How does he take care of his body, right? And even LeBron James got low management. People, it is quietly low management.
Yep.
But he got it. It's a quiet one.
He'll get an injury once or twice a season and sit out a couple games.
So I don't disagree with Sapphire. Like I as much as I want these guys to play, as much as I want them to be on the court, you got to think about the wear and tear they're doing in their body for so long right now. Remember, if you talk about 20, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, when you played AAU, wasn't as big as it is now in the last 10 years, right? It wasn't. I played AAU, but I didn't play as many games that summer. No, I played 2-3 games over the weekend. I was there. It's becoming such a big thing, such a huge thing, right? That you're getting these games in, and it's wear and tear on their body.
Okay, maybe I might rethink my stance.
It's just wear and tear. And Sapphire, right? It's wear and tear on their body. You got to. You talk about the NBA, and a lot of them is not taking care of their body correctly anyway.
That's right.
Yeah, Josh said the drug LeBron is taking is called $1 million Sanol.
So what?
$1 million Sanol.
Yeah, it's something. Listen, whatever he's taking is working out for him. Fabulous.
Yeah.
Plus, again, he doesn't go out and drink as much like he was working and stuff like that. So you got to factor all that into drinking, smoking, and do all this other stuff. Like, why Michael Jordan body broke down so quickly late in his career, because he cigars. Yeah, he drank
big old cigars.
And whatever he's drinking, when he get older, it just broke down. And he still worked out like crazy. But then, he's fighting against that in time. And once you drink and smoke and do all that, it ages you quicker.
Yeah, they say he spent about $1 million on his body every year.
Who, LeBron? I heard it was 2. I heard it was 2.
Oh, okay. It might be up there, but $1 million at the minimum.
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree with Sapphire. I don't agree with Sapphire with JB, but I agree with you.
Listen,
That's
man,
okay.
I just, when I think about professionals, whether it's sports or out of sports, you can have all the training in the world, to get yourself ready for that moment. But what goes on in between your ears when you're out on that court, packed house, your enemy that eliminated you from the playoffs last year, and that's what we got. I don't think that has anything to do with the coach.
It has everything to do with the coach, because the coach got to put the right buttons and put them in position to make plays.
Because but Chris, if he showed his true nature, which he does a masterful job at not doing that, then we have another problem. Right?
He needs to gain control. They're not listening to him. He's not pushing those buttons.
Well, rumor on the street is Donovan Mitchell does not like him as a coach.
And there it is. So if that's the rumor, then that's what it is. And if your guy who's your guy on the team is not liking him, he's gonna go. Like JB, if JB does not get it going, everybody was hyped about this 15-game wins. Did you see who we won against?
Yeah, it was a bottom feeders at the NBA.
Paper victories, absolutely paper victories.
Yeah, so I didn't get hyped. I'm in the barbershop arguing with this guy. I was like, yeah, they won. I see them go back-to-back games. I was like, listen. Who did we play against? Okay, we're going to win those games. We're talking about the Knicks. We're talking about the Bucks. We're talking about the top tier teams, and that's where coaching comes in. It doesn't come with the bottom feeders. You're going to win those games. Coaching comes in when that's winning the playoffs. You win in the playoffs because of the coaching, unless you have LeBron.
I mean, it's the game on Sunday looked like an extension of the playoffs.
Yes, it
That's what
did.
it looked like. And
Because
then Jalen Brunson didn't even play. He only lasted
because
47
the
seconds.
players are not locked in or dialed into what he's saying. Obviously, it's something that he's saying they're not believing it. It's something that he's saying about the game plan if they're not believing in.
Like,
They're
I'm
not.
gonna respect that because, listen, Chris Styles is a head coach, albeit on the gridiron. He's a coach, right? And so he understands those dynamics, right? But I will say there's a difference between high school and pros.
And,
And
and, and exactly right. You're right, and I agree with that. And so that's what I'm saying. When it comes to pros and pro basketball, you need a coach that is able to manage the players. He's not managing them. That's
man,
pro
just
basketball.
but Chris,
Phil,
where's the dignity? Where's the way a professional athlete
it
feels
is,
about
but
him
it's been
or
like this for 30
herself,
years.
man? Come
If
on.
every team is like that. Every from 30 to 40 years of professional basketball, even with the Lakers. The Lakers had the great tactician of coaches. They didn't start winning until you had a guy who can manage that. That was Pat Riley. He knew how to manage those Eagles.
Yeah, but let's go common era. That's a whole different time.
No,
When you say
we can
that to
keep
me
going.
right now, and I think
We
about
can
the
keep,
Lakers, the person that calls out the Lakers is not the coach. It's LeBron James.
I'm not
He
talking
makes
about
it
today.
very clear. So where is that on the Cavaliers? Despite what may or may not be true about how the head coach is regarded.
Okay,
You
you
tell
talking
me
about
when the last time a Cavaliers player stood up behind that microphone and said, "Listen, we aren't doing this." Like the things when you can recall what LeBron James has said across this
say that one more
season,
time. Say that
where
name
is the
again.
where is that
No, no,
Cavaliers
no, no, no,
player
no, no, no.
that's
Say
going to
that name
call
again.
out the team?
Say that name again. Who?
LeBron James. Listen,
That he's the
tomato,
only person to do
tomato.
that.
No, Listen,
He's
it's a
the only player
culture.
you can do that. Name other
It's a,
player that done
oh,
that.
I don't think so. I don't think he's the only
Name one
player
other
that can do
player
it.
that has done
I
that.
think he's the only player that chooses to do that. That's what I think.
He's the anomaly because that's why he's the GOAT. It's only goats can do that. Only goats can
LeBron
do that.
James was not the GOAT like 15 years ago. I mean, when I look across LeBron James's career, it was clear when he was agitated. It was clear when he felt like his team members weren't doing what he knew their capabilities were.
Like
That wasn't just in the last few years with
who did
LeBron
that
James.
though? Who did that too though? Goats do that. It's an anomaly. Goats do that. When Mike played, what did Mike do? Punch people in the faces.
Steve Kerr will tell you all about that.
Like those are the goats do that. Right, so
I like
we
I like yeah, I like Hunt Star's Rachel, read Hunt Star's comment. I
Yeah,
really like this too.
Huntstar05. Hey, Huntstar, appreciate you joining us. Steve Nash don't have a job because KD didn't like him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that is straight up true. You got to be able to manage these players. Listen, Sapphire, you are one of the best in this sports thing. I understand you give these.
Oh my gosh, was that a
nice
compliment,
takes.
Rachel? Did you
It
hear
is.
him give me a
No, you great.
compliment?
You give some great takes and everything. I love your takes. But when it comes to the NBA head coaches on this subject, they have to manage these players, and it's so sad that it's like that. They have to, and you don't agree with it, they have to be able to manage it.
Well, it's curious that you say that because let's use Steve Nash as an example, okay? And Hunt Star 05, roll with me. What has KD done since then?
No, he ain't done much. He's put up a lot of numbers, but he haven't won.
And to his point, Jordan was not going to play if Phil Jackson wasn't the coach. There's definitely pattern. Like I can agree with you
Yeah.
folks, but then I can say in the common era, like the current as in common era, I don't know. I think it's all about when looking for an excuse, that is what it is from a fan perspective, from a player perspective, that is the excuse, the coach.
Who do you
It's
think
always
has
been like
egos
that, though.
on this team? Do you think Donovan Mitchell has an
Every
ego that needs to be?
every NBA player that plays in the NBA has one. Because you made it to there. You made it to there. You only could probably name 3 really good NBA coaches right now that's able to manage stars. They're able to manage a superstar players.
Who,
Right.
Eric Spoelstra?
Yeah.
Um.
Steve Kerr grew into it.
Okay. Yeah.
He grew into that. Name another good coach in the league right now.
that you could definitely say, I could put them on this team, I could put them over there, and they're gonna work out.
They're gonna win.
I got to tell you, when I think about Spolstra, I can't remember, was it last year? They released that clip of him and Pretty Boy down there getting into a little tete-a-tete. And I thought he stood up to Butler. He
Mm-hmm.
stood up to him,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we saw that. We were able to see that. So how much does that influence our view of Spolstra as being that kind of coach? Because if you remember, if you look back over the last 10, 12 years, that was not always the case. But what I think he did have that separated him from a lot of other organizations, he had a Pat Riley. Pat Riley has always been his biggest supporter. So he, to me, was able to ride those waves, those little tantrums, that a lot of players, for whatever reason, don't own their craft like a LeBron, who has done that since, as far as I'm concerned, he was in high school, right? I think that's a little bit different when I think about your question that you just asked Chris Styles about, two or three coaches that know how to manage the player. I think it's
Hunstar
more than
said
that.
Popovich.
Pop is on the tail end, but yeah.
Okay.
So when you look at it, when the Cavs won the championship,
I didn't mean to cut you off, Sapphire.
when,
Sorry.
when we
No, that's
had
good.
when we had Ty Lue, right? From every report from people I know that's in the league, Ty Lue, guess what he did with LeBron?
Told him to shut up. I got
he
this
challenged him,
in that huddle.
right? So you got to be able to manage that respect. So JB need to go to Donovan, whoever, and check him. He needs to check them, like, yo, this is what we're doing. If you don't do it, it's my way or the highway, and it is. I'm gonna die on that lane. Why do you think Doc Rivers always getting a head coaching job?
But he don't be winning though. He ain't won the championship since what?
He'll win 50
08?
games. He'll win 50 games. What he will do is he'll check the players, right? He'll blame them for everything. Is that some of it be his fault sometimes? But those are the coaches. Some players respect, right? Until he wears welcome out.
Huntstar also said, appreciate your comments, Huntstar. Would you consider Devin Booker the perfect example you're talking about? Dude went through an insane coaching carousel, yet constantly
Yes.
improved into an all-star.
Yes. Huntstar 05. We need to put Huntstar 05 on the celebrity board, Rachel.
I love Devin Booker.
Absolutely.
He's a
Absolutely.
He's gonna ball regardless. He's gonna ball regardless of coaches because he's just gonna play.
He may ball regardless, but in terms of keeping the focus on what he brings to the table, his mindset, his commitment, his work ethic, he definitely is an example of that.
Yeah, he's different. He's one of them players. But I like I said, when it comes to head coaches in the league, you gotta be able to manage players. And like again, why you think Milwaukee fired theirs and Brandon Doc Rivers, right? Whoever was at who's with Phoenix now? Who's the head coach?
You know what? Wait, hold on. Doc Rivers, there's something else going on with that we don't know.
I don't like Doc Rivers there, but it's fine.
What don't you like about him?
I don't think he's I think he just get, which as a black man, I love he getting the retread coaching jobs. I love it. But as a sports guy, Doc, you had some teams that you couldn't do it. You had some teams. You had teams in LA couldn't do it. You had teams that the Sixers couldn't do it. I mean, now you got this
Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel is a Suns head coach.
Frankie. Good old Frankie. That's all. I just think he's not. I think it's time past him with coach right now. I think his style it has. That's all.
That's really curious. You use words like styles. I mean, no pun intended, right? But when I think about it, it's like, is it a cultural thing? The league is getting younger and younger and younger, right? And we see that these players, I'm not mentioning any names because I'm all about redemption. I'm all about not second chances, but 7 times 700, whatever the book said. But we see that there's a different mentality of athlete, as each generation kind of like iterates itself. And there's other things to the game than the game, right? And what is that type of coach that's able to, keep those things that don't need to be in the light, in the closet, but also, help that player realize their full potential. I think I'm seeing this like as a fan that's been watching sports for decades. It's just a very different culture.
It
So,
is.
going back to the D book example, when I see athletes like that, I think, they had people in their lives from a very early age teach them the value of like self accountability. No matter what we do in life, whether we're athletes or business people or teachers or bus drivers or crossing guards, are you owning yourself, right? And how are you conducting your business? I don't know. I felt compelled to push that out there since you mentioned this
No,
whole
no, no.
topic.
I get what you're saying, that, but everybody's not that player, and you're not getting that. Those are small percentages. When we talk about
Mhm.
the players get to the league, we understand some of these players get into the league. That's all they want to do is that. I just want to get to the league. I don't care about anything else, right? And that goes back to AAU culture. That goes back to high school. That goes back to if I was coddled or not. It goes back to I'm just trying to eat, and I don't care. Yeah, I mean, it's all that, and then it comes back to once you get to the league and get on these teams and you get these players, what coach can put that together and able to play somebody believe in them. It's like that. I mean, on the lower level in high school, I was just talking to one of our coaches and the coaching staff where player one of his track runners is able to go lift in the morning, right? Have a class that you're able to lift and get your workout in early in the morning.
Mm.
And she wouldn't do it. She ain't going to do it. And he's like, well, back in the 90s, Janetta Graham would do it. I'm like, yeah, those players would do it. You know why? Because they were coming up doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you 8, 9, 10, somebody was showing you this is the work you have to do to get there, right?
Yeah.
And see the results. If you try and take somebody who's a freshman now who 10 years prior to that, when he was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, wasn't doing this athletic stuff, wasn't doing it, wasn't putting in the work to see the results. And so you're telling them to do it, and they're like, okay, why? Nah, I'm good. So they go the same way when you got kids with guys with talent, right? With basketball talent is really, really good. And if I don't got to put as much work in, but I'm still get to the league, right? Then once you get to the league, you figure out, oh, I got to put in more work, extra work.
So Hunt Star said that they got Frank Vogel, championship coach, with LeBron, but seems like he's struggling to handle offense and defense game plan for this team. Injuries are a huge factor, but still. He also says the NBA culture has definitely transitioned from the franchise being the brand to players having their own individual brands, and that's very true.
True.
That is very true.
That's true.
So
it's one of it's one of them games. It's one of the, we see the Oklahoma City Thunder who's playing well. They got these numbers. Are they going to play well with the next 3 years when these kids get a little bit older, right? When these players get a little bit older, when they get to the 25, 26, 27 range, will that coach still be there? Will they still be locked in with?
Yeah, because you got a 3-way tie in the Western Conference from the Timberwolves, the Thunder, and the Nuggets. They all sitting at, the Timberwolves are 43 and 19, and then the Thunder and Nuggets are 42 and 19. So they both 0.5 games behind.
But also Sapphire.
Yes. Yeah.
But we only have a team. The Cavs only have a team that's able to maybe just go to the second round, honestly.
Wait, I didn't hear that last part, Chris. Say it again.
Honestly, I think they only could go to the second round.
They got to get past the first round.
They should. They have enough to get past the first round.
It depends on who they face.
They have enough. They don't have enough to go past the second because I think this team's still poorly constructed a little bit.
Do you think that if they lose after the first round, which I'm believing they probably will, depending on who they get as a matchup, that JB is gone?
Absolutely. JB's going to be out of here.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. And I think he would as well. I think JB Bickerstaff would agree with that as well.
I quit.
Seriously, man.
I still don't understand the Cavaliers. I'm sorry to cut you off. I still don't understand the Cavaliers not bringing in the young boy from the Charge and Mighty Bates. You need something. You need a firecracker. But then that goes back to being the coach again. You see what I'm saying? Like I see in me being the coach in that level. I see this guy who just a shooter. He just goes right. Plays with no fear. You need a player on your team that has that attitude. Some games he may put up 30. Next game he might put up 2 because he's still young. But he's gonna come out there and ball out every time because that's all he knows. Like you'll give him the green light, and they trying to slow walk him. Don't slow walk him. Put him out there at this point. Let him play. Because who else do you have out there playing with no fear?
Nobody.
They try to get a ball up quick, don't they? Every time put the ball in their hands.
Yeah. Do you agree with keeping Sam Maryland and getting him minutes in this as we go to the playoffs?
You give anybody minutes who's trying to ball out.
So why do they go with this like 8-man rotation in the playoffs? When you have a decent bench, you have Sam Merrill, who is stroking it right now, 21 points not last night, but Sunday night, hit 7 3-pointers. He was a leading scorer in the game on the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, and also Imani Bates, bringing him up as well, too. How is JV supposedly going to fit?
I just wonder if the off the court issues that Imani has had is still on the organization's radar, and if they're seeing some things that don't give them confidence that he's maturing.
I didn't get that. I actually talked to one of the coaches down there. They're like, nah, he's been good. They say he's been outstanding.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard.
Yeah,
anything.
They say he's been outstanding.
No chatter or anything like that.
Outstanding. He's been outstanding. They said.
Okay.
He's been
outstanding. Yeah, I would. Then what is what I don't. But yeah, I mean, at this point, there's nothing to lose. Some people may consider him undersized or feel like his athleticism is in question. But I agree with you. Give him an opportunity. You brought him on. Let him run.
Ball out. And
yeah.
I just think that's what teams do. You got a player like that. You just let him go and figure out what you got with him and let him play. Nobody else on the Cavs want to play heavy with that. If Donovan out there, you put Bates out there, Bates going to shoot. He going to look at Donovan. I don't care. I'm just as good as you. Mm-hmm. It's like that, those are the players you want. Why do you think LeBron James loved Kyrie so much? You know why he loved Kyrie so much? Because he would look at LeBron and be like, yo, I ain't just as good. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go out there and go get it. What player right now on the Cavs have you say, I'm gonna go out there and go get it?
Just Donovan.
Name one player we have on the Cavs right now that says gonna look at Donovan, gonna wave him off and say, I'm gonna go get it.
I think Darius Garland waved him off the other day and took the last shot.
The first time in 10 games, we barely had him this season.
Wow.
I know.
And I love Darius. Trust me.
But he took that step
Shout out to my guy
of saying, I'm just as good as you. He took that step and waved him off.
Sapphire, tell him to show it.
I mean, honestly, I'm just they're like so different in terms of the types of players they are. Like even before we picked up Spider, right? Like Darius just seems like, I don't know, Chris, how do I put my finger on this? Yes. Like it was cute. It was nice to watch him play. But when we really thought, or at least I thought about the pace of NBA games, he just seemed more like not a point guard. Like help me out, Chris Styles. It's just he's got like a slower style. I mean, just like a shooting guard more than a point guard, more than someone that could play either position and, like you say, take control of the game.
Yeah,
am I off?
No, you're not off. I know what you're saying. So he's a scoring guard. He's been like that.
Yes.
He was still injured, and he's getting back into himself. Them two don't know how to play together.
Would you say that was the same issue with him and Colin Sexton too?
They don't know how to play together. Everybody listen. I still think at this day that I'll go, but that's a long time. Never mind.
You can't have two roosters. You can't have two roosters in the hen house. Come on, Chris.
They don't know how to play together right now.
That's what's
up. I think Garland need to figure out how to play with Donovan, and Donovan need to figure out how to play. But then it goes back to the coach. What kind of offense you're running? Is that isolation with Donovan all the time? Is it ball movement? How much of the ball movement are you doing? Does Darius Garland play better on the break when everybody's moving the ball around and he can get people in cuts in the basket to get himself into the game, give assists? Like what you got to do? Because remember, Donovan, for him to create, he needed the ball in his hand 70% of the time.
Yeah, and I just really think I mean, I don't know what happens inside the war rooms, if you will, or when the decision makers decide who to go out and get. I wonder how much thought was given to the impact that bringing a Spider Mitchell into the organization would have on Darius, right? I just really, really wonder about these things because, someone has to give up more of themselves than what each brings to the team, if that makes sense,
That makes
to
sense.
make it
You're
work.
right.
Yeah.
You're right. And so it goes back to when everybody talk about Colin Sexton. And I was like, I really like Colin Sexton still. Because he still brings a different element to the game that he really don't need the ball in his hand all the time. Right? He'll try to play D, he'll do some extra stuff. He's willing to sacrifice his part of his game for the betterment of the team. So that was the two. The decision was, do they give a Garland or do they give a Colin? Remember,
Yep.
Colin was a point guard at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
He played point.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree with you, Chris Styles, because he
So
even
those were
put
the
it out
two.
there.
Those were the decisions they made. But the decision was, do we keep Dart in
Mm-hmm.
that? So I think the better lineup would have been Colin. Everybody don't agree with me. Colin and Donovan, because Colin can play off the ball without having the ball in his hands and get in passing lanes and get this. He would be able to play that way.
I
And
agree
then
with that. I agree with that totally. I really agree with that totally. And for me, I wondered how much Sexton's injury
it
impacted the Cavaliers' decision to move with DG instead of him. What do you
it
think about
did.
that?
I think that was it. I think that was big. I think that was one of the reasons. Because I think at the end of the day, I think they were cowards. It's bad to say that. They were cowards that they didn't. They was going to make that. If he stay healthy, they wanted to make a decision at the end of the year, and they didn't want to make that decision. Who to give up, who to trade, and everything. Because on the surface, you would be like, well, DG, let's go we get stuff with DG now, right? And move things around, give up picks. But I,
Would you say he's still developing as a basketball player?
you can't. He is still developing, but he's developing with Donovan, who got the ball in his hand 90% of the time. And there it is. Sapphire, you're always great.
What
Ah.
about me? I'm chopped liver. I guess so.
Did
No,
he
I
come?
guess
Did
I
he?
am.
no, you
Hey
grade
Rachel,
A.
did he come back with all of his digits from Antarctica, or did he lose some?
I don't know. Look, he got them all.
Listen, you
Okay.
always great.
Whatever. He got all of his fingers. And he had a good time. He had
Yeah,
pictures with
I'll see her tomorrow. Let me chop it up.
Oh,
penguins
you'll see
and
me
all
next
that
week,
other
bro. You'll
stuff.
see me next week.
Next week, Chris. She said next week. Um, Before we get out of here, let's talk a little bit about Ohio State basketball, women's basketball. Unfortunately, they had a loss to the Iowa Hawkeyes, and Ohio State. I got to check and see what ranking they are right now in the country. But Caitlin Clark went off. Obviously she's the sensation in the country, and she passed Pistol Pete Maravich NCAA record with over 3,000 points. So that's kind of dope. I wish it was a Ohio State player. But what are your thoughts about Caitlin Clark?
I mean, listen, you have to give her props. She's doing the thing. She's a heck of an athlete. I think for me as a fan, more than anything, you hear me talk a lot about what is going on between the athlete's ears. Like, I want that kind of player that she is. She's not going to back down. She's going to dictate. She's going to accept the challenge. She's going to own when she gets beaten. She's always working on her craft, right? So, huge, huge fan of hers, and she's going to be great in the WNBA.
So Ohio State dropped down to number 4. So
Mhm.
they should be leading a bracket, and they're not number 1 overall, but they're going to lead a bracket since they're the number 4 team. Oh, they still got the Big Ten tournament that they got to do
Yeah,
too.
and
So
aren't they ranked number 1 in the Big Ten?
yes, they are ranked
Mhm.
number 1 in Big Ten.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, the 15-game win streak came to an end after the loss to the
yeah.
Hawkeyes. So
That's
it
gonna be
is what it
exciting to see
is.
them. That's gonna be
Yeah.
exciting to see them in the tournament and in the land.
Yeah, because it's going to be a neutral site. So
Mhm.
if the Hawkeyes make it to the Big Ten final in Ohio State, it's going to be at a neutral site. But unfortunately, Ohio State's game on Sunday was just uncharacteristic. A lot of turnovers and things like that, things that they normally don't commit when they're playing games. So also, I hate to go to the officiating, but Cody McMahon got a flagrant foul called on her because not Carolyn, but Caitlin Clark flopped.
Yeah.
So, you already know that, this was a historic game for her. So, they knew she was going to,
Yeah. Top heat.
break the record. So it just, was all bad for the Buckeyes going into that. And they wanted some get back from when Ohio State beat them at home. So they
Yeah.
wanted to get back from that. And Hunt Star says, devastated the Mercury won't get the chance to draft her.
Mm.
Would love to have seen her play all the time in Phoenix. Oh, Hunt Star, so you from Phoenix, Arizona, huh? Land
Or
where it's hot at.
could be a fan, like, and those are moments, those are big moments that build your character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would have preferred it happen, this last week than in the tournament. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
going to help them. It's going to embolden them. It's something to be said about going to play a game that you feel like doesn't have immediate ramifications versus being in a moment like the ladies were up against Iowa, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's going to bode well for the Lady Buckeyes.
Hmm. I hope so, because depending on what happens in the Big Ten tournament, could affect their seeding for the NCAA tournament. So
Yeah.
once they get out of that, if they're able to run, that they would be have a bracket and they would be number one in their bracket if they're able to do that. Hunt Star says he is repping ASAP and AC. So thank you for listening. We appreciate you. We appreciate all of our listeners that's listening out there. We appreciate all of our content
Let me ask you
commenters.
something. How do we
Yeah.
know Hunt Star '05 is a male?
Oh, yeah. It could be a female. So sorry, didn't mean to make
I'm
assumptions because you
curious.
can't do that
Hunt Star, hit us
nowadays.
back. Let us know.
Yeah, Hunt Star, are you a male or female?
We
So
love you either way, Hunt Star '05.
exactly. So we got about a minute. Excuse me. I'm so sorry.
There
A
you
minute
go.
left. Predictions tonight for the Boston Celtics game against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Well, we know what the outcome should be because we're down men, right? But for me, this is an opportunity for the Cavaliers to show up and win that game. So I'm going to take the Cavaliers.
Some toughness and grit. That's what we need to see today. The Boston Celtics, I think, are on the 12-game win streak. They're the best team
Mhm.
in the NBA. So we'll see what the Cavs going out
In
to do.
the East.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So Sapphire, thank you so much. Thank you to our listening audience today. You've been listening to Her in a Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. We will see you next week.
Did you record it?
Huh?
Did you record it?
I did not.
Okay.
I have to figure out how to do that.